The fuck?
8 emojis.
Is that Halloween ghosts? Are we fixed? Okay, I think we're fixed. Okay, yeah, that might be Halloween ghosties. That might be spooky Halloween monsters. We fall. We fall. All right. All right, let's get into this a little bit. Let's clarify some stuff. Let's explain what we did, why it was so sneaky, why I had to kind of lie to you guys a little bit about what happened here. So I was watching all the interviews, right? And they were all kind of the same thing. They were all kind of the same thing. It's like gameplay shit. What are you going to do about like priests, feral druids, moonkins, that kind of stuff? And I was like, there's such a bigger thing happening here, right? And when I left like making daily content for World of Warcraft, if you watch that end of an era video, I am clearly fucking devastated. I'm absolutely devastated.
YouTube watcher usually.
I got like so much. You look around you, like the studio staff and all that was built off the back of World of Warcraft. Obviously my own drive and ambition, motivation and whatever, but it's built off the back of WoW. And reaching the point where the prospect of logging into World of Warcraft made me feel physically angry, which is where I was. I was at the point, certainly in Shadowlands, where logging in to even play the game made me physically angry. I was genuinely having a visceral emotional reaction to logging in and playing that game. I was like, I can't do it anymore. I literally can't do it anymore. I can't log in. If I log in, I'm presented with like, oh, let's go and do some Ellie Shaman or whatever. Let's go and have some fun. It's like, well, I kind of got to get the legendaries first, and I've got to get a Soulbind, and I've got to maybe get some renown, and I've got to get conduits, and I just got to log out. Just gonna log out. There's so much other shit on the market that's just like not asking that of me to go and have some fun and do some stuff. So that's where I was. And then of course all the like allegations came out and started like really turning Blizzard up on its ass. And so it was the time to stop, right? It's like, this is just, it's too much. It's too much fucking shit. It's making me sad and depressed every time I want to come and make a video. But as I said in there, if they were to like change and start respecting the player's time again, I would absolutely come back and play. I didn't stop playing, although I did eventually. I carried on like farming Sylvanas and stuff, which I said in the video for the people who actually watched it, and as opposed to the people who didn't. So that's where I was for a while. And then I got into the Dragonflight Alpha, and the first thing I noticed is that they changed everything. I don't think it's been made a big enough deal, honestly, of how much they have completely changed the direction. So I can say from the conversations I had, they're actually changing the name of what they're calling this phase of World of Warcraft. I'll give you some snippets now, right? It's going to be called the third, or it's sort of like the thinking behind it is the third era of World of Warcraft is what Dragonflight is starting. The third era of World of Warcraft. And they have absolutely completely changed the entire core gameplay loop of the game. So when you play Dragonflight, obviously the pre-patch is out now, but if you've not played it and you're going to try it, you'll find that there's no mandatory shit at all. It's just not there. It's not there. If you want to log in and go dungeoning, all you need to do is get gear and go. And if you want to go Mythic Plusing, you just need to get your gear and go. There's no... Renown is in the game, but it's the casual stuff. There's no conduits. There's no you have to farm X, Y, and Z. There's no, like... you could just log in and play. That's it. Just get going, and your limitations are your time and the equipment you currently have equipped, and you'll play the game to get that equipment, which is a change from something that you arguably could say since the Burning Crusade, because you had Aldor and Skryre there. Wrath of the Lich King has Sons of Hodir, but arguably it really started in like Legion-ish. WoD Legion-ish is when they started this. Let's give people a sort of list of things to do every time they log in. And if you don't do them, you kind of get FOMO. And anybody who's played WoW will obviously be probably very present of like, I want to go out on Saturday with family or whatever, but I kind of need to do my dailies at some point. Because if I don't, I'm not going to hit I'm not going to hit like a rep level that gives me a really important item or a shoulder enchant or something like that, right? So if you've played WoW for any period of time, you've had that feeling. It's like, yeah, but I kind of still need to squeeze in my dailies at some point, right? I need to get back and I just need an hour on the PC. I know I'm super guilty of this. I need an hour on the PC to just get my shit done, and then I can game on. Right, then I can do whatever I want to do. But at some point in the day, I need to log in and get stuff done. So that's all going away in Dragonflight. And I was like, that's way more of an important question. And so it was after watching the Max interview. I spent a full day with Liquid Max. Super awesome day. And it was after I watched the Max interview. I was like, there's so much I want to talk about, but I can't do it via Twitch. So I've done lots of interviews with Blizzard seniors. I've interviewed Ian like 3 or 4 times, Morgan Day, blah, blah, blah. But the way that works is that it's pretty good. Is, you know, they ask for a few generalized topics of what you want to talk about, but you can ask whatever you want. But you're always constrained by 2 major factors, right? You're always constrained, one, by physical time. They usually give you, I was really lucky and generally got an hour, but for the most part, you get like half an hour, 30 minutes. There's somebody at my door. What? Who's at my door? Hello? 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 There's no one there.
Hello and welcome to the Fat Boss Guide.
If I was to guess, that's kids running by the building, pressing buttons. If I was to guess. But if it buzzes again, we'll know more. All right. So, yeah, you're constrained by 2 major things, right? One is the physical time. They're going to sort it out and then give you like half an hour. And then you kind of get a message for the most part, which is like you kind of need to leave now. You know, we've got to wrap it up. Last question, something like that. And what you can't do in that situation is you can't like fire back. You can do it a little bit, but if you want to get through all the topics and you get a sort of unsatisfactory answer, you kind of have to move on, right? You kind of have to move on. You can't get into details. You can't understand the thinking behind it. You kind of got to get your answer and move on. The second part is you're in front of you lot. You're in front of a live audience. That's not good for either of us because a lot of people are going to watch it, right? A lot of people are going to react Andy to it. People are going to talk about it. They're going to be looking at your face while you're listening. They're going to be, you know, checking your answers. They're going to be over scrutinizing it to the ends of earth. They're going to be picking up on phrases like the ripcord and blow it into ginormous memes to the ends of time. Like, and so both sides are very cautious of what you say because everybody on the internet is going to fucking react to it and change it and prune. Yeah, like you killed Death Knights and that. Conversations that we don't think about at the time, because I don't have chat open when I do interviews, is going to turn into some fucking massive internet meme. And so you're very careful of that kind of shit. I was like, I had suggested a couple of times not to stream our interviews so we could talk properly. I suggested this to the PR team a little while ago. I was like, let's just we don't have to stream this. Like, I'm more than happy to do this offline so we can get a proper conversation going. But that never materialized. So, after I watched the Max interview, I was like,
Unlucky 13.
we have the resources here, thanks to you lot, especially Twitch and our website supporters, right? You guys take very, very good care of us. So, I was like, we kind of do have the resources to go there. And if I pay for it, if I pay for the trip, I pay for the hotels, that gives me a certain amount of freedom in terms of what we're going to do there. Because you know, when you're sponsored, there's commitments to meet, right? If they're sponsoring you to do something, it's because they have goals they want met as well. But there was no goals with this. There was no goals. In fact, it was one of the reasons this trip got cancelled early is Blizzard really wanted to put it in with the Dragonflight release day announcement, which would have left us with like 2 days to edit this video. That wasn't going to happen. That was not going to happen. They were like, well, your timing is like when we're going to, because they told me when they were announcing the release date. I didn't know the release date, but they were going to announce the release date. So I was like, yeah, not really. That's kind of not what we're going for. And I'm not rush editing this thing. So that's not going to happen either. But they said yes. I can't fucking explain to you how nobody else has done what we did this week. Like, absolutely no one else has done this. And we knew that, and they knew that. You can go on YouTube and you can look at the Blizzard tour that happens, the Blizzard tour, and it's the same video over and over again, because they have some really good sort of prop areas. So they have like a museum, which is really fucking cool. It's like super cool. They have a museum, they have a library, they have the statues all around the campus. The sad fact is a lot of the team were like, well, you've been here before, to which I had to remind them I was supposed to be here, but I got banned the day I was supposed to come here, and I got a phone call off Blizzard saying do not be at the airport because we are not letting you in. So I had to be very clear and remind them that, no, I haven't been here before. I was supposed to be here before, but I got banned the very day I was supposed to be on a plane to come there. And they went, oh, yeah. Huh. Like, I got that. Huh. Okay, so what I stated to Blizzard was this. Like, I have a lot of love for World of Warcraft. There's no fucking secrets there. I'm way calmer now. I'm not angry at the game anymore. I'm fucking way more chilled. FF14 has brought something different into my life, as well as all the other games that we've been playing recently. But I need to know, if I'm going to play Dragonflight, I need to know why you've changed what you've changed, and what happened with the sexual stuff. What's gone on internally with all the lawsuits? Because we saw loads of stuff on Twitter with the staff protesting outside, being very vocal about the issues they had. They weren't being solved quick enough. And in my chat all the time, I was seeing some people, it's like, if we even looked at WoW, they were like, I'm not playing sexual harassment game. And I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And none of us did, right? That's the situation. None of us really knew. None of us knew anything. So we're just left with allegations and lawsuits and what the internet is putting out there, PR statements that the staff are disagreeing with. So what the fuck is actually happening there? Who's going to find out what the fuck is actually happening there? What is the culture now? What have they done? What are they changing? So I was like, well, why isn't that us? Why don't we go and fucking ask? Why don't we do it? So we sent a message saying, look, if we pay for the trip, so we're under no sponsorship obligations, and we fly our ass to California, can you give us some frigging time? That's what I want. Is I want some time. I want to sit down and I want to go over this stuff properly with people who know what the fuck is going on. That's basically what I want. And weirdly, they said yes. I was pretty shocked, honestly. I was pretty shocked. Weirdly, they were like, okay, who do you want to talk to? And I was like, everybody. And I literally said that because we were doing this via Discord. I was like, I kind of want everybody. I want everybody from the top all the way to the people that... because we know the PR faces, right, that do a lot of the interviews. They have the regular people in front of the cameras. But I wanted to talk to the people who built the raid bosses, who aren't the people who are in front of camera all the time. I want to talk to the people who make the quests in WoW, because they have a ton of questions about quests. Who tells the story in WoW? I want to talk to them. I want to talk to the people who make all this stuff. I want to know their opinions. I want to talk to the people who literally make the combat in the game. I want to talk to them. So I put together a list of I think I put together a list of maybe 12 names, and I spoke to some people outside Blizzard of who would know the people internally that wouldn't be in the public eye, because I didn't know who they were either. and I put this together to this list. So what I can say is I put together a list of maybe like 9 or 10 names, and they gave me 13. Like, I can't express to you enough how much further they went. How much further they went with this. They gave me like 13, something like that, people to talk to. And I was like, shit, okay. Now, not to get into too much detail here, but it started to get real spooky about a week before we went. At least in our eyes. It started to get real spooky in that kind of time. Because as it got closer and closer, we definitely felt like there was nerves rising at Blizzard about this. And honestly, I kind of suspected that they may have pulled out like closer to it. So one of the things that happened is that they sent us a message saying they were cutting our interviews in half. Besides Ian's, they were going to cut them all in half. Like this was like 2 days before we were leaving. So I think we flew out on the Saturday. I think this was like Thursday or Friday. Then we got a message saying like, we've been talking with more people at PR, and maybe we should cut all these interviews in half. And my response to that was, call me now. I read this message and I just went, call me now. Well, the thing is, like, legal were getting involved, right? Because we were going to be talking to some people who are not used to being in front of camera. And they may say some things that absolutely should not be in the public eye. And that's fair enough. Honestly, that is totally fair. That is absolutely fair. They may say some things that are not supposed to be in the public eye. So we dealt with like 3 stages of people. So there was like the community team, which was super awesome. So that was Lugia, Linksy, Athalas, and Big Randy. I spent the entire duration I was there. We had 3 full days on the Blizzard campus. We could have had longer, but there was no need for it. And they took care of us the whole fucking way. You sign an NDA. I had to sign an NDA every single morning. I can tell you one really funny moment is we had unprecedented access to the Blizzard campus. As in, I saw the day before, we were up on the executive suite, just past the boardrooms. And I looked in on John Haidt because we were outside his office on the very top floor. And he was fucking about Diablo 4. And I was like, oh, the beta's starting. I didn't know the beta was coming. But this is John Haidt here, who's sat here. If you're not sure who he is, he's in charge of the entire Warcraft franchise. Like, to talk about big cheese, mega cheese, is this John Haidt fella here. Also made, like, Red Alert 2. God of War, like absolute legend in the gaming. Neverwinter Nights, like absolute fucking legend in the gaming community. Knows his shit. His job, he's the one, to give a general idea, he's the one who makes sure the game comes out when it needs to come out, and it has the funding it needs and the resources they need and how much the budget is and all that kind of stuff. His job is pretty mega. But what a super fucking awesome dude. Like, so relaxed, so cool. When they were protesting about the sexual harassment lawsuits that were coming out, he went out with them and was like, we support you, and looked after them. Like, absolute 10 out of 10. This is Holly Longdale. Holly Longdale is now in charge of Warcraft. She was in charge of Classic WoW, which has gone well, as you guys probably know. And now she's in charge of Warcraft, like the WoW Classic and World of Warcraft. I should be specific. She's in charge of WoW Classic and World of Warcraft. Absolute fucking amazing lady. Like, so wonderful to talk to. Absolute passionate to the ends of the earth about what's going to happen with World of Warcraft in the future. Like, super amazing. So leading into the trip, was starting to get really nervous because it was weird how more names started to come up who was involved, and that some people were going for PR training, and they were getting like, I don't know, it felt weird to me, and this was, again, I'll clarify this in a second. It felt very weird to me that people were getting like 2 hours of PR training for what was now said to be a 30-minute interview. I was like, oh shit. They got like 2 hours of preparation for what is a 30-minute interview. And it started to make me feel like Thanos or some shit. Like the apocalypse was coming. Like, okay, everyone be fucking careful. And I started to have all these, thankfully, completely baseless thoughts in my head. Like, I wonder if everybody's been told not to talk to me while I'm on site. Right? In case, because they said we could, everywhere they were going to take us, we could record, and they gave us access to everywhere. There was, on the campus, there's 7 buildings, 6 or 7. There was only one literal corridor we weren't allowed to film in, and that was the financial corridor, where they were sorting all the money out. That is the only corridor in the entire campus we were not allowed to film in, was where they were sorting all the money out. Like, to say they gave us access to everywhere. And I made it clear, because we did mention we need to be able to film in your offices. And they're like, well, that's really tricky, because we're going to be like making not only Dragonflight, but the next expansion. And I was like, look, if we are literally not allowed in those areas and we just have footage in the places that you can watch any tour of on YouTube, it doesn't legitimize what we're doing here. We kind of need that access. So they did. They did. I will tell you one really funny snippet is, like I said, I was on the top floor on the executive suites for World of Warcraft, right? So there's like Ian's office, Morgan's office, which was really cool. John Haidt, Mike Ibarra was sat there. I kept fucking I kept mod checking Mike Ibarra because he was just so busy. He starts at like he's the CEO, but he starts at like 5 a.m. and finishes at like 9 p.m. But like I was walking past his office and it's got like frosted glass across it, and I kept like, you know, peeking over the top. I was like, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Who hasn't got 10 minutes? 10 minutes, just like peeking over the top to try and get 10 minutes of time. But we didn't get that, unfortunately, but we got literally everything else, so it was fine. But it was just like 10 minutes, you know, 10 little minutes. But I walked into the room where they're actually legitimately planning Warcraft for the next like 4 years. And it had so many top names in there who like do everything for Warcraft. And they went, oh shit, it's Preach. And they like dived up and turned around this giant whiteboard. They were like, oh fuck, turned it around. They're like, oh shit, turn that around. But they were dead nice. So I was like, guys, it's fine. Like, I really don't care whatever the next expansion is or anything like that. It's totally fine. But I didn't go in the room. I like peeked around. They were like saying hi and stuff. But it was the speed. They were all sat like in a huddle, like talking about like whatever the next expansion is or whatever. And then I walked past with a camera, like, so I flew Nups out with us. Nups was there and he did all the filming. And they were like, oh fuck, turn that around. But yeah, thankfully I didn't see anything. I was intentionally not trying to look for details, so I can safely say I didn't see a damn thing, so I can't be in trouble for that. But yeah, like, I got to ask, I can tell you this, we've got to put this video together. It's going to take a while, but I can tell you, like, without a doubt, I got to ask whatever the hell I wanted. We talked about the lawsuits. We talked about the internal changes. We talked about how the change, this third era of WoW, as I said, it might be a nothing thing, but they're kind of saying this is the third era of World of Warcraft. What the direction of that is going forward. There's some really, really exciting stuff that they're changing, especially for you who like story. If you like story, some of the stuff they've got planned for you is really fucking good, and that is stuff we can absolutely share with you. So it's very cool. It's very, very cool. That and I'm not talking about details. I'm not talking about which characters coming into it or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how they're planning to do story going forward, and how some of the changes they're going to put in place there to make the experience better. Yeah, so it was good. Feeling hopeful for the future. I have to say, when I walked away from the Blizzard campus, so we didn't really know what the narrative for this video could be. That was the point of me paying to go, right, and not doing a sponsored deal. Was we were talking about it on site. It's like, what is the narrative here? If we turn up and Blizzard's like standoffish, you're not allowed to do this, this, and this. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. Every interview we did had somebody from legal in there, sometimes two. Every interview I do, everything I do, I haven't got all the pictures on, but you see, like, sat here, there was 5 other people in the room behind me and 1 in the corridor to make sure nobody came in. But that was for sound purposes, so that people didn't walk in. But yeah, there was several people in there who were listening intently to everything that was said. Thankfully, the only correction we got was something really minor. And when I spoke to PR, they were like, everything's fine. Everything's pretty good. Because in order to do this, and I'll tell you this now, I did say, it's like, once the video's done, they're allowed to see it. And this was my concession. And like, if there's you've said something in there which is either not going to happen in the way it comes across in the video or whatever, we will take it out. That's totally fine. We'll be putting the entire run out, because we've recorded like, I don't know, 17 hours of talking. So we'll put some of that on YouTube. Some of it will be on the website for Twitch subscribers and for our website supporters, like the fold conversations, because we can't do a 17-hour video. That would be fucking stupid. So yeah, like that was the 17-hour director's cut. Yeah, that would be a bit spooks to go that way. But we got to ask absolutely everything. But I needed contrast, right? I needed contrast because obviously I'm talking to people who are still at Blizzard. So we got to sit down with Josh Develor because he was there and he was throughout everything that happened. And he did leave Blizzard, but not because of the lawsuits. So we needed that contrast. So I contacted Jesse Cox. Wonderful Jesse Cox. Only get to see him at BlizzCon. Haven't had the opportunity to work together. But I contacted Jesse because he lives in California as well. I was like, Jesse, like, I'd love to sit and shoot the shit with you about Final Fantasy 14 and, of course, World of Warcraft. I would love to do that. I was like, can we sort that out? And Jesse Cox amazingly just went, yeah, no worries. You can use my studio. You could just use my studio. Like, it's no problem, dude. Just get up here and, yeah, we'll do it. I contacted other really prominent personalities. Like, some of them were dickheads. So there was, like, Zeppler, right? So I reached out to Zeppler, like, 3 weeks ago. And I was like, Zeppler, I haven't met you yet. I really want to spend time with you and say hi and do all that. But she said, absolutely not. Full can't be asked. Why the fuck would I come and see you? And then she was really toxic about it on Twitter, which I found super rude, is that she was like, why don't you come and see me? And just because I know you're in the chat, Zeppler, I'll just remind you that I do have the chat logs to back that up. It was just super busy. But then we reached out to Liquid Max, who unfortunately lost his frigging voice. But I got to play with his dogs, so it wasn't the end of the world. So we spent a full day with Max, got to see the Liquid offices, talk about the new Race to World First, which was awesome. Got to have a huge day with Max. It was super kind, took us to his house, took us to dinner. It was really good. It was really, really good. And then I did a sit down with Jesse Cox as well on that. So yeah, we did the whole fucking thing. So it was a hell of a week. I don't think we had more than 2 hours free the entire duration we were there, so absolutely not a wasted trip. The tweet. Okay, yeah. So I could be a bit ego here. The tweet was absolutely my idea. I wrote that tweet. My biggest fear was, of course, Ian not being down for it, but I kind of knew Ian would be up for it, especially because he gets to zing me. Yeah, I wrote it like I pictured it a couple of weeks back, something like that. But then I had to write it because they were like, well, if you want him to do a skit, because we had to film this on the Tuesday, can you send us a general script so we don't waste Ian's time because he's super busy that day? So I was just thinking about it. And then I was like, I think this works really, really well. I think this will be super funny if he's down for it. And thankfully, he just was like, absolutely. Because he gets to say, didn't you quit? Like shit on me. And thankfully, everybody responded to that super well. But yeah, that was completely my idea. I'm very happy with it. There was a discussion about whether or not we needed British crisps in it. Which I don't think anybody cared about. What kind of crisps were we going to use in the skit to make it work? But this was planned, and I'm really sorry again to our live stream audience. The plan was to have this come out the exact moment my streams sort of started on the Monday, because I told you guys I was not streaming Monday, but you know, can we get it out that time? It was just not possible. It was just not possible.
Hey guys, I'm really sorry there's no stream today. I've got some stuff to do. I don't actually think we're going to be back till like Monday. Yep.
Didn't you quit?
I never said that.
We only did that in 2 takes, you know, because it's such a simple thing. We did that in 2 takes. It's like 2 takes to get that shot in. There's 2 versions of that, and that was it. It was done. Let's get you rolling. Yeah, I'm so happy it worked out. I like when we tweeted it out, because we were sat in the cafeteria at Blizzard, free food for everybody, by the way, and a really dope restaurant. We were sat in the restaurant, and I was like, God, I hope this pays off, because I obviously prepare for the worst. One of my predictions was that everybody from the FF community would be like, oh, you're not streaming, you know, Mouse Boy because of this. And the WoW community being like, yeah, you did quit, you piece of shit. But luckily that was contained to Wowhead. Which is the only time we actually had to correct anybody on that. Yeah, it's the only time I had to do that, which is correct him on that. But yeah. It was good. Missed me? Yeah, like, wow, the Wowhead comments that came out later, that's when we had to kind of get involved. Because people obviously assumed it was a sponsored spot. And the irony is, we are doing a sponsored thing for Dragonflight, but it is not related to... If you don't know, Blizzard's marketing team is divided between the US and EU. So completely at random, the EU team reached out to us. And we're like, hey, do you want to do something with like the Oxcast? And we'll put you in a castle. And I was like, a castle? Yeah, I'm trying to get you some more pictures here so you can get an idea of who we spoke to. Hold fire. That should do.
What a great surprise. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so glad that Twitter... I mean, I'm not sure what I'd do if we got to see Yoshi P or something. I might have him step on me or something. Something like that. Get him to step on me or something like that. But who knows? You know, who knows? We'll see. Like we've been trying to work with Squeenix Japan for quite a long time, and they haven't said anything. Go over steps twice, sing Lahi together. Yeah, little son. He would probably do it. I think so. Like, these guys are gamers. They're way more fun. Like, some of the, like, things that aren't going to be in the video that I got to do while I was there, I got to speak to some of the people who made my favorite raid bosses of all time. And to find out a bit of the background about those bosses. Which, as a raid boss nerd, oh, it was just a fucking pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to the people who made Blackhand. Oh, so good. So fucking good. I was like, you made Blackhand? Oh my god, really? That is awesome. That is awesome. You better not get stepped on by Yoshi P before me. Jesus Christ, Zep. Like, I'm making it my mission. To go there. Blast Furnace creator. I did get to speak to the person who made Blast Furnace. I did get to speak to the person who made Blast Furnace. Like, I was so giddy. I was like a kid in a candy shop with that kind of stuff. I really was. So, yeah, it was super awesome. Let's have a look here. So we had Josh. Josh came all the way from the other side of LA. It was like a 2-hour drive for him just to come and chill with us. This is Jesse Cox's studio, where Zeppler could have been, but apparently she wanted to dress up as an elf and sit on a stream. Could have done it live, but there you go. You know, I know which one I would have preferred to do is to, like, be in the room with absolutely everybody and have a good time, but nope, apparently just going to stay at home instead. But, you know, choices goes in various ways. So we got Jesse. I can't even tell you how cool Jesse was to just let us into his studio, because we didn't even get there till I think 5 or 4 p.m. Because he had some shitty Dungeons and Dragons dream with some small FF streamer. So he had to finish that stream before we get started. So we ended up in the Cheesecake Factory. Just chilling like round the corner before we could get in and get set up. I had a great time with Max. Like, this was really fun. This was really, really fun. I really do hope to do some casting with Liquid in the future. I want to get to know the Liquid players a lot more. Probably not this time because it's near Christmas. But yeah, we spent all day with Max took us out, treated us proper like a princess, which is what I said to him. He took us out. Cardboard cut out of Max again. It was just super nice to like pick his brain and chill with him. Who's this? Morgan Day and Tina Wang. So Morgan's so chill in his fucking flip-flops, just absolutely the most relaxed gangster of all time. If you don't know who Morgan is, he's like the second in command to Ian. Like basically, if Ian's doing it, he's doing it. And Tina Design is the head of all the artwork. So, like, she knows her stuff. She's the one who changes, you know, when you upres stuff and you change it from .jpeg to .ps5. Yeah, Tina is art team, like, fucking bow down. Absolute bow down. Unbelievable. Like, such a talented lady. I mean, they're huge teams, but she's, like, in charge. So we were talking a lot about the new raid. Like, it's because there was a lot of things that are definitely crackpot theory that I had. This room is awesome, by the way. You know what's really cool? Every room in the Blizzard campus is named after something from Warcraft and their franchises. So this room is called Ice Crown. And they have to book it out that way because we spent about 3 hours walking around the campus looking for where to film. And so we like booked out Ice Crown, and you could book out Ironforge. You could like the Hearthstone teams just out on the outside of here, chilling. This was the Dart Portal. They have a Dart Portal set up, like an actual Dart Portal. Who else did we get? Checkers. Oh yeah, Helinka and Graham. So you guys probably, if you're into World of Warcraft, you probably think Brian Helinka is Mr. PvP, right? Which is barely anything that this guy actually fucking does. He's in charge and of all the combat. An absolute god. Combat. And I said, well, because when he came in, he was like, the same as me. It's like, I've always wanted to sit and chat with you. And it's like, yeah, but they're always pigeonholing you as PvP guy. And it's like, yeah, kind of. But he does all the fucking combat. And Graham designed all the Drakthir, well, with his team. Obviously, when I say this, it's like with teams, right? You get that. But these are the guys who are like, I need to make a new class for World of Warcraft that works in raids, PvP, outdoor world, with new concepts and all that kind of stuff. Like, these two are so focused on making the WoW combat as good as it is. It's fantastic. Oh, Paul and Maria, head of all the questing in World of Warcraft. Maria knows her shit. Maria knows her fucking shit. An absolute delight to talk to. Maria knows her shit. And I gave, for those of you who watched our Dragonflight Alpha playthroughs, the dog quest that like made me submit a ticket. I was like, if this dog fucking dies, I'm gonna lose my mind. I was like talking to her about it. I was like, why did you do that? This is Paul Cubitt. You wouldn't probably know Paul Cubitt because he kind of stays away from the camera for the most part, but designed Withered Training, Brawlers Guild, all those big solo experiences that you know in World of Warcraft that did really, really well. That's him. That's who makes all that shit. Like, that's him. That's your boy right there. And I was like, no way. He even did the first version of Torghast that I loved. This is the dude, and getting to talk to him was amazing. Like when I was making all those videos, like Torghast is the fucking shit before it like changed and got messed. That was him, and like it was funny. Like I could tell you, like Withered Training for those who liked Withered Training. I bet most of you didn't do it, but if you did do it, did you like Withered Training? Because if you did, it might be fun to find out that he literally got that because he'd finished a project and they had some spare time. So they were like, Paul, can you do anything? Motherfucker designs Withered Training in a very short amount of time. Gangster. This guy is fucking gangster. Absolutely gangster. Yeah, it was just like, yeah, you got some spare time. We got these assets. We kind of want to do something. Can you come up with any idea? And he was like, yeah, I can make something. And just makes Withered Training. It just comes up. But the funny thing is, I was talking to him, I was like, you've made some of the best solo experiences in the game. And he's like, yeah, but the thing is, I really don't like solo experiences in my MMO. I like multiplayer shit. Comes up with Withered Training, the Brawlers Guild, all that stuff. And Torghast, he's like, yeah, you know, but I don't really like even want to do that. Like, he's such a gifted person. He's like, yeah, but I can do it. I can make that happen. That's no problem. No worries whatsoever. Horrific Visions? I don't think Visions are on his resume. I don't think so. I'd have to check. Bex might know. Bex might know. Pretty much shit he's passionate about. Yeah. MMOs are solo now. That was a big topic that we talked about, is the rising, especially with the old school, right? Because a lot of these guys came from EverQuest, which is a very different beast. Holly was in charge of like EverQuest 2, and something else for like 9 years. So that's where she came from. And I was very curious about the rising demand of the solo experience in the games, because I loved MMOs for the people. Like, if they don't have the people, I'm not going to play. But there is definitely that rising amount of people who want to solo everything and kind of have a single player RPG. So we talked about that. Massive shouts out to Bethany Linksy for designing this backdrop, because this is the Blizzard library. We've got a full tour of this thing for you to look around. This place is awesome. You can come down and literally get video games, board games. This is a D&D table. But there was no Warcraft stuff here. It was all these. You see them on the side? It was everything but Warcraft stuff on here. So, like, Bethany on her own just, like, completely reshaped this whole room and sorted it out for us. Absolute legend. This is the team. This is Lugia, who looked after us, Bethany, Randy, and, of course, Nups. These three were with us every minute of every day we were on Blizzard and helped us out so fucking much. So fucking much. Absolute legends. They did all the sound checks for us. They did all the sitting in chairs for ages while we just checked things over and over that. I was very tired here. This is the end of, like, I think on the last day I did 4 interviews sort of back to back. Videos when there'll be a while. So what we've done is Nups, poor Nupsy here has flown back to the UK. He's here now. He couldn't share a flight with me because it was £1,000 more expensive for him to join my flight back from the US. So he had to leave 2 hours later than me yesterday, I don't know, and go to Amsterdam because he's from the Netherlands. So he had to fly from California to Amsterdam and then get another plane from Amsterdam to Manchester.
1 year.
so that was the way that had to work. So I got back at 5 a.m. I think Nups landed at about 1 in the afternoon. So he's had a longer journey than me. I was flying for 23 hours to get back. But Nups has taken 27 or something like that. So the plan was to come into the office. Like, me, Chris, and Nups were supposed to come in tonight and go over everything. But
Match tea time.
yeah, well, I had to stay in Atlanta. For 5 hours coming out, where I legitimately saw people fighting over whether they should go to Chick-fil-A or Popeyes. And I was like, I had totally forgotten what the US is like. Like, it was so hard to get my head around the being back in America, because it's been sort of 3 years since I've been in the US because of COVID, and I kind of forgotten what it was like. Like, the first meal I had but that wasn't on a plane was in Atlanta when I first got there, and I wanted to sit down and I wanted to have a beer because I'd been flying for 11 hours at that point, and I needed another flight to get to California, and I had to kill 5 hours. So I was tired, but I wanted to sit and have a beer and not have fast food. But the only restaurant that was anywhere near where I was in Atlanta, which is divided into like 7 different concourses, was PF Chang's. So I went to PF Chang's because you guys, I was kind of stupidly following some of your recommendations, which is a total failure. You guys really fucked me over on where I should go and eat in the US. Like, you guys actually screwed me up so badly. And I'm angry about it. I'm genuinely angry about it because you really goofed me on that one. Because all your recommendations are just fast food places.
Frankly, that's a skill issue.
frankly, you guys really screwed me over on this as to what is a good place to eat. Because you're constantly telling me about, like, In-N-Out Burger, Chick-fil-A, and they're just Arby's. Like, all these fast food places. But I will say this. Everyone treated us so nicely that they always took us to nice places to eat. They were too nice. I'm a simple guy. I can take a really fancy meal. And But in general, I am fine with something pretty simple, just to get the food in so we can carry on with work for the most part. Like, I am totally... This is what they served me for one person. Who in the fucking God is eating this? That's 3 people's food. That is easily 3 people's food. Like, it's insane. This was their signature dish because I didn't know what to order. So I was like, just give me whatever your signature dish is. And this is what they brought me. It's that plate. Look, it's like the size of the table. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. I ordered 2. I mean, just lunacy. Well, at least I had a beer. There you go. It's enough for a small child. No way. Absolutely ridiculous. Missing some scale. Well, these are chicken breast pieces. This must be 2 or 3 chicken breasts. At least. It's at least 2 or 3 chicken breasts on this. Atlanta is known for its hot chicken. I just wanted something before I got on yet another plane to sit with people. It was so much food. I ate like a quarter of this. It was ridiculous. And then the rice comes separate and stuff. I didn't take a lot of food pictures, unfortunately. I know I should have, but I didn't.
Just a little chicken.
Yeah. Did you have LA taco truck? No. Somebody offered to take us to one. So Irvine, which is where the Blizzard campus is like a big business park. Like really, really big. You can't even see the houses. I didn't see a house for 3 days. They're hidden away, like squirreled away in places. It's a very odd tech valley. I mean, you've got Blizzard, and then you've got like Bandai Namco next door to it. So I obviously kicked the door in to get some Sekiro DLC. And some Elden Ring shit, but they called me a maniac. Razer is like round the corner. We went past the Riot building. It was weird. It was weird. It was so rad. I know you probably will say it in the video, but how is your impression of Blizzard now? Good, bad? Did they actually make good changes? In summary, extremely good. Extremely good. It was the weirdest part was, and you'll see some really creepy shots in the video. They have like 15% of the staff on site. So they have like 6 or 7 massive buildings, but the offices, I can't tell you how weird it is. It's like, do you remember like Resident Evil where Mia Jovovich wakes up and everybody's gone like a plague? It's like that. And it was very eerie, because what they do at Blizzard is everybody's allowed to really customize their area as much as you possibly want. So you can kind of see it in the back of the shop. We have a ton more stuff. This is the stuff we just released publicly for now. Obviously, we've got loads more to show you guys, like so much stuff. But this shot here, which I got Bethany to take. This is like one of the executive suites. This is actually one of the executive suites, like on the top floor. Like my Kabara is like round the corner from here, and there's just offices and offices of just empty space. But if you go down to the you can't see. Sorry, guys. There's just offices and offices of just empty space. It's very creepy. It's very, very creepy. We talked about the Cosby Suite thing. I asked everything I wanted to ask. Like, it was... But, like, downstairs and all the other floors, there's offices that are filled with dog beds, family photos, all sorts of stuff. And they've just been left. Like, some people haven't been in for 3 years into the office. It's very weird. That they built Shadowlands that way, and they've built the entirety of Dragonfly that way, which has presented some solutions and some problems. Like, I got into that with the guys. It's like, how have you made an expansion? Because creatively, having people together is a big deal when you're being creative. But I guess one of the big things I took away from it is there's no shortage of ideas at Blizzard of stuff to do. Like, everyone's got some crazy fucking idea that they want to throw into the game or they think it'd be really cool, but like, there's so many, it's just not realistic. What are you going to be doing with all these conversations? I've got to put them together. I'll do a couple of things. Like I say, I think we actually recorded so much stuff, we had to go to Best Buy and buy another 4 terabyte hard drive to even get the footage back. But we'll do a combo of things. We'll do the main video, which is the important one that I wanted to make, about what's changed, how Blizzard is now, what caused the changes, from all different aspects to the game, to the internal pressure, to the shake-up in management, all those kind of things. But the other interviews, we'll put some on YouTube, like Jesse and me will probably be YouTube, because that's like just me and him shooting the shit about FF and World of Warcraft. And some of them we'll put on the website for the people who supported us so we could actually go and do this trip, because as you can imagine, this was very, very expensive. But I mean, we got more, like I said, going. I was kind of curious. I thought they would be very closed off or protective, because nobody has been given the access we had. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Certainly not with cameras. I was very surprised, if I can see the picture. There's a picture somewhere of the door. This is like just the opening lobby. This is where we have to sign our NDA every day. My preview thumbnails aren't working, which is a bit of a pisser. I'm scanning. But yeah, I showed it on Twitter, right? The room that was like, you can't go in here. This is actual development, so you're not allowed in there. Day one, I saw that sign on the door, and I kind of thought in the back of my head, like, here we go. Here we go. They're about to tell us this isn't happening. And nope, they just opened the door straight away, and they were like, yeah, you can come in. It's totally fine. Like, it's all good. We want to show you everything. We want you to know that we're being an open book here. Which is exactly what they did. I genuinely expected way, way less than what we got. But they were very awesome about it. I tweeted that picture, I think. Yeah, this one here is. Yeah, this one. As soon as I saw this sign, just like, do not come in here, no visitors and things like that, they just opened the door and let us straight inside to see what was going on. So, yeah, it was pretty good. Very impressed. Like, the shake-up, I think the shake-up in management has been the biggest key. These two in particular, like, I know everybody knows Ian and stuff, but the real stuff is from these two here. And after talking these two, I had a strategy here, and I'm sorry, John and Holly, if you're watching right now, but I absolutely had a strategy here. So, look, I still gotta be professional, and I have to try and get the best experience for you and for me, right? This is Ian's boss. Yes. These two are the ones that direct, where, you know, they control the money, they control the resources. These two are the big cheeses when it comes to World of Warcraft and Warcraft as a whole, and WoW Classic. Okay, so I told you that one of the reasons I was skeptical a couple of days before we go is that I got this message saying that our interviews, except Ian, which I had nearly 2 hours with Ian, were cut in half. And it was putting to us in a way that, like, it was a good thing. And that's when I was like, call me now. And me and Nups had to sit in a call like 10 minutes after getting that message, and I had to restate what our purpose was. What happened after that is the communications team, so I think it was Lugia and Linksy who we spoke to about this. It's like, look, we're coming to do essentially podcasts. These aren't interviews like you've seen on Twitch. That's not what we did. I want to be absolutely clear on this. We did not do interviews like you would see on Twitch. We essentially did podcasts. That's why we set it out like this, to make it as cozy as humanly possible, right? We went out of our way to make people feel cozy and comfortable. That's why we had me and Ian like this, so we could literally sit and shoot the shit and go backwards and forwards. And I had nearly 2 hours with Ian, and I was told we were going to have an hour with everybody else. But then that kind of got altered to, like, as PR got a bit more involved, we then got told it was going to be like half an hour. And I was like, that's not enough time. That's not enough time for me to fire back. In half an hour, I might, depending on their response, I might get into a subject with them that's going to be like 20 minutes. So we talk, what, about two things? That's not going to work. So my first day of actually getting to sit with people was the Wednesday. So Tuesday, I got to do the tour. I did the Twitter thing with Ian. And then it was like choosing where we're going to film, because we really wanted to use this library more, because it's an awesome set. Like, this interview looks so good and so cozy, It looks like our fireplace set, but obviously this is great for 2 people. It's shit for 3. So that's when we were decided with... we had Ian and John and Holly on Wednesday and everybody else on Thursday. I think that's how it went. So it was Ian day 1 and John and Holly. Now John and Holly, like I said, it kind of been said to us that John and Holly needed to be like half an hour. And then I suspected, which turned out to be true, that there was going to be someone from either PR or legal in the room with us while they were there. And that is what happened. And I kind of suspected as well that that person would be the one to do this. When time was coming, right? When time was coming. You may notice in this picture that I cannot see anybody behind me. You may notice that perhaps the seating arrangement here was done in such a way that I couldn't see anybody behind me. But that wasn't the only plan. My thought process here, and I'm sorry PR and whoever from Blizzard's listening, but you can't blame me, right? You can't blame me. My thought process was, I had no intentions of doing a hit piece or being malicious or anything like that. I just wanted to know what changed. Genuinely, from the fucking core inside me, I just wanted to know what changed. That's it. I figured if these guys overran because they were having a good time and everything was cool, right? Like, we're having a good time. Like, this guy's not out to get us. This isn't some TMZ BuzzFeed bullshit. Then maybe it would relax everybody for the remaining discussions that I had for the next few days. Because I kind of figured that even if PR was messaging them saying, you know, you've got like 5 minutes left, that these guys are so high up in the company that they can kind of just ignore that and do whatever the hell they want. So I sat here so I couldn't see anything. And I kind of was thinking in my head, because I did have a watch on. You can see my watch here. And you can do things like when you see, I can see my watch if I do this, right? So I'm like, you can see the Blizzard World poster. So I could do something like, well, as you can see, and I can see the time. So I kind of figured that I could ask a question at about 25 minutes that isn't a 5-minute answer. And it would overrun a little bit. And I could judge it based on how they were. Like, if they were very shut down and closed down, then maybe I wouldn't bother. But I had something in mind as like, well, maybe we could just get a little bit longer if we do it this way. And getting them a bit more comfortable. Because that's my job, right? As the guy who's doing the interviewing, so to speak, the hosting, is to make sure the guests are comfortable so they can feel free to talk about whatever they want. The first time I heard from the PR guy in here, who was super nice, by the way. I'm not shitting on PR. The guy was awesome. He was really cool. He was letting them know that they were already 15 minutes over time. So it had been 45 minutes. I think he said something like, just to let you guys know, you said you had to hard stop at like past. Because we started on the hour. We had to hard stop at past. You're already 15 minutes past there. And I think it was Holly who went, it's fine. And just carried on. Woo! Yeah, buddy! Woo! Fucking nailed it. I was like, yes! There we go. Fucking quality. And genuinely, we were having a good discussion. We were really having a good discussion. I wasn't trying to like just fill the time up so I could say I had an hour. We had some interesting, cool shit to talk about, right? These guys are changing the direction of the entire Warcraft, specifically World of Warcraft, the entire direction of where the game is going over the next like 10 years or so. Like, these guys are really important to talk to. So I wanted as much out of them as I could possibly get, and they wanted to share. So it was just a fucking high fives all around. It was an absolute high fives all around. Could not have had a better talk with these two. I mean, we could talk all day with these two, but we hit some really good, cool points. Like, they're leading the charge with the internal changes. Did you get feedback from the people you interviewed? Did they like this different style? Yeah, universally. Yeah, pretty universally. The best feedback I would say actually came from the people who aren't used to being on camera, who felt a bit more nervous coming in. Like, Ian's not nervous. He spoke to me in real life multiple times. We've done multiple online discussions. Like, Ian's could just do whatever, you know what I mean? He can sit down and just go. Like, he doesn't even need any prompting or anything. He'll just go. The same with some of the others. Like, Brian Halinka's done interviews for like 10 years or something. But it was the people who aren't used to being in front of camera. Afterwards, I think they came in a little nervous. But afterwards, they like hung around and chit-chatted about stuff. I had a really lovely conversation with Maria. Can I find that picture? So you know who I'm talking about. So Maria, who's in charge of all the questing in World of Warcraft, her team heads up all the quests. She stuck around afterwards to ask me some stuff about it and have a chit chat and do all that kind of stuff. And it was just so cool. Really so cool. Yeah, it's wrong pick. These thumbnails aren't loading for some reason. I've got like, see this? It's like half of them not showing. I think this is one. So that was great. That was really good. Like, she hung around. She asked some really nice questions. Just an absolutely wonderful person. It was really good. Did you talk about FF14 at all? Yeah, of course we brought that up. Because we were talking about storytelling. So, yeah, I wasn't high. It's not like they don't know. They don't know, like, the differences between the two. So, yeah, it was literally like podcasts, right? It was literally... That's why it looks as chill as it is. I didn't even start the interviews with introductions. Like, what we did, and I thought was a better way to get into the mood of what we were trying to accomplish here, is we got them mic'd up and sat down, and Nups went around and adjusted everything so the audio was good, etc, etc, etc. But I never did introductions. I could do that in post to make sure you guys know who these people are. Nups just gave me a shout to say we're going now. Or it started, and we just carried on the conversation we were having already. Like, we were talking about stuff before we even started doing something, and Nups would just go, it's on, and I would just carry on from there. So there was no, like, introducing of anybody, because I could do that in post, and we'd met each other in real life, so we just chit-chatted there. But this is Maria, this is Paul. It was awesome. Like, I found out, like, you know, all the side questing in WoW, and most people are skippers in WoW, we know that. But that team has so much autonomy in writing that stuff, creative ideas they want to come up with. There's no, like, guidance that they even get for some of this stuff. Like, they get the overarching story, but for the most part, her team's like, oh, we could do something here, or this might be a cool little story to throw in. So it's more like the talk he had with Ian before Shadowlands came out. It's even more cozy than that. It's even more cozy than that. It really was. Like, that was the goal I went for, is like really, really cozy. Just if they wanted to talk, this is what I said in the lead up to it, is like, if Ian wants to tell me about his favorite local restaurant in the middle of it or something, I want that to be okay. I want that to be okay. If they want to shoot the shit about something that happened 10 years ago and it's like a fun anecdote, I don't want to be in a situation where it's like, oh, we can't talk about that because I'm under a time limit. If it fits what we're chatting about and it gets people more cozy and comfortable, then let's go that way. Like, I wanted that flexibility. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted. Will there be videos about the interviews? Yeah, of course. So what's happening now in terms of production is that Mike, I've flown Nups back here because Chris is going to be putting the video together, but obviously Chris wasn't with us, so it's kind of unfair to burden Chris with like 15 hours of footage and say, go make thing happen. So I have flown Nups here. He's in the UK. He's going to spend tomorrow with Chris to go through stuff, and then I'll be available after stream tomorrow. We've got normal stream tomorrow. Oh, that's a problem. I'm out of game time. I'm out of game time for Final Fantasy 4.